Welcome to the MFS Wellness Podcast, a hybrid structure encompassing health, fitness, self-improvement, and entertainment, where no topic is off limits and all opinions are graciously welcomed.
Let's get on with the show!
And now, here's the host of the show, Mike Sinopoli.
Welcome to the MFS Wellness Podcast. I am Mike Sinopoli, certified nutrition coach, consultant, counselor, call me whatever you would like. On this episode, I am discussing the pros and cons of meal plans. The word meal plan might send gross feelings down your spine and make you sick because you may have used one that absolutely sucked. And I will admit flat out to you, even though meal plans is something I do, I feel I'm good at, and I know how to use them, in my opinion, meal plans can really, really suck, especially if they're generic and they're not individualized. A lot of times that's people's only exposure to a meal plan. They will go ahead and buy one from a company or from a trainer or a coach or something that's pre-written. First of all, the meal plan itself has to be macronutrient and calorie specific to you as an individual for your goal. Fat loss, maintenance, surplus. That all matters. That's all body composition related, calories and macronutrients. You also are going to want to have it so that you're eating foods you like and foods that are healthy for you, that are good for you, nutrient-dense foods, not just processed shit. We can fit some of that in, of course. So to start out, how I don't meal plan, what I won't do, I will not generate one generic meal plan for a large group of people. Because the success rate there is probably going to be like 3% if I'm lucky. That doesn't work. You can't just give, here's the meal plan for it's like sign up for my program and you'll get a meal plan every week, but everyone's getting the same meal plan. That is just someone trying to get money. That is all that is. It's low amount of work for a lot of people, and there is no care for your success in that sort of way. It's not going to help. Usually it's got to be real safe and boring, which means it'll have like a lot of dry chicken, rice, very bland food, very, very obviously healthy food. It's healthy. A lot of times even nutritionists and dietitians will provide meal plans or recommendations like that because they're specifically trying to just get you healthy by any means, and they don't apply the reality of it that you need to be eating things that you enjoy to sustain this thing. So I will not just make a generic meal plan for a large group of people and say, go for it. Doesn't work that way. I also, if we are individualizing it on the next level, I'm not going to just take your food and make it up myself and give it to you, what I would eat. That's not going to work because you're not going to eat the same way as me. That's goal-oriented, that's preference-wise, that's prep-wise, timing, your lifestyle, your freedom, your ability to cook and where you're at, where you live, how you work. It all matters. That all needs to be taken into consideration when you're going to generate a meal plan. So, how do I use meal plans for my clients? Like, what do I do? Here's what I do. If they choose a meal plan option, I change it every week, okay? I give them one meal plan a week. And what I'll do is get with them midweek and say, what are you feeling? What do you want to eat this week? What do you like? And I will incorporate as much as they give me. And the more they give me, the more successful they are because they're picking the food. You don't go to a restaurant and say to the server, you know what? I don't really want to look at this menu. You pick something. You never do that. So why would you do that with your daily eating? You literally want to decide what you are going to eat so you're looking forward to it. It's fun to look forward to your food. It is not fun to dread your meals and choke them down. We have to have obviously some sort of balance with it and some compromise with our own selves and acceptance of what we can actually consume on a daily basis that's going to work for our goal. Otherwise, we have unrealistic expectations, and that leads to frustration, failure, and we start to think something's wrong with us. So the more food that the clients pick, whether that be a recipe, specific items, things they have around their house, I'll put that into a meal plan for them and say, here's your meal plan for the week. Now, they ask me, do I have to eat the same thing every day? The answer to that is no. You can, if you like the food and you can do it 7 days straight, you can do that. But most people, even me, don't want to eat the same thing 7 days in a row. What I do for variety is I will change that every week for them. But I also give them the option because we use MyFitnessPal. In MyFitnessPal, you can copy meals and send them to another day. So I will tell clients, if you would like, you can copy one meal over and track the rest of the day and eat whatever you want. Copy no meals over and track the whole day. that is what you can do. And I actually think that's a better way to go. I believe the meal plan is a safety net. It's a guide. It's a structure. It's a way to show how you can portion your day out in your food and a way to eat. It's like a snapshot. It's a safety net. Like I said, it's a default. It's something to go to. If you don't really want to think about eating, at least you got that there. We'll get into later the cons of it and how that can maybe not really help you with a lifestyle change if you allow it. But that is one way that you can go about it, and that's how I encourage it. That 80% is kind of consistency. 100%, going for something 100%, usually will lead to burnout, failure, and disdain for what you're doing because you get so tired of it. Having that leniency, allowing yourself to go off of it a little bit is actually helpful because you're going to learn how to eat differently. You might go to a restaurant, and that's what I'll tell clients. No, you're not going to track the food from the restaurant. You can lightly do it, but estimate it because it's probably not going to be accurate because they're not measuring your food in the back. So what I will do for them is say, hey, look, here, give me the menu. Let me know where you're going to eat if you know. I'll look at the menu, and I will go ahead and give you a few suggestions of what I would order. And that's just what I do. And then I'll tell them, look, if you go to this restaurant and you feel like you don't want anything I just suggested, you just want to eat what you want, do it. Accept what's going to happen. You're probably going to have a scale inflation from sodium, possibly, depending on where you're at. But you know what? Get back on track the next meal and enjoy that one, no guilt, and just go forward. That's life. The diets that are timed, 90-day, any of that, that doesn't correlate. It's going to be forever. So you're going to have to realize that that's a good thing because you're going to have a lot of room for error and you can just slowly progress the way you want to go. So going into the cons of a meal plan, what I feel are negatives. And again, this is a lot of mindset, how it's distributed to you. The first one is that it can feel like a restrictive diet to start because let's face it, going from eating whatever the hell you want, whenever you want, at will is a freedom. It's a true just food freedom. Forget even what it is. Even if it's healthy food, considered healthy, junk food, processed food, if you have the freedom to just eat what you want as much as you want without checking it, looking at it, that is something people get very used to. So once you have to start regulating your food, no matter what it is, even if you enjoy the food on it, it's going to start feeling like a restrictive diet. That can happen with tracking as well. So that's a con, that the meal plan can start to feel like it's got chains and binding you into this. These are the only foods you can eat. What it does is it seems like if you let it, it'll take all other foods and meals that are not on the meal plan. What is that? 3 meals and a few snacks that are typically what a meal plan would look like. It makes it feel like everything else is off limits. It's not. That's what I just explained before and how you can go off of it, track, keep your life intact, go out to dinner with your family, your friends. Probably going to have to limit going out to eat, believe it or not. I mean, that's just, if you want to make a change, you're probably going to have to limit the amount of food you eat out because it's always harder when you're eating from a restaurant than preparing your own. And if you don't want to do that, then you have to sit down and talk to yourself and say, am I really ready for this? Do I want to make this physical change for my insides and my external physique? Or do I want to keep my lifestyle as it is? That's what you have to sit down and be real with yourself. That's the acceptance part of it. So sometimes they can be very boring, like I talked about, especially if they're not individualized and it's constant. I have heard that sometimes a trainer or something will put out a meal plan for their clients, and it's literally they just don't change it. It's just, here, this is what you want to eat. This is your meal. And it's very, very basic and chicken and rice plain, a few vegetables, broccoli, oatmeal or something like that. That's all good to eat and fine, but like let's make it exciting. I make sure that these clients like what they eat, and I tell them, do not hesitate to tell me something sucks. And let's make sure before you go grocery shopping that you like the food you're eating so you don't go to the store and piss a bunch of money away on a bunch of healthy crap that you're not going to eat. So be realistic with yourself. Don't tell me you come to me you want to eat chicken and broccoli every day when you really don't, because I don't. And I'm sure you don't. But whatever, depends how you prepare it too. The meal plans, they might not allow enough variety. That can, like I said before, can feel very restrictive and that you just want something new. And then, when you're restricted from something, it's human nature. It feels like it's just human nature to want what you cannot have. So I think by changing that mindset and telling yourself you can eat whatever you want, you just have to have a little accountability with it. You might not want to go for it as much. When you restrict something so heavily, you want it more. Anything in life, it feels like that we're just kind of wired that way. When you restrict it, we want it more. So that's the mindset to eliminate and alleviate and get rid of it. And the other issue that I think is a pretty big one here, this one is one I even struggle with for clients a little bit because it doesn't seem to correlate well. It may not really take away or alleviate any poor relationships with food. So if you have any like eating issues, it doesn't really address those. If you go on a meal plan and you just follow it and you do it, that's great. You're probably going to get the results you'd like. But if you're not addressing your emotional eating habits, this is again a little out of my realm because sometimes disordered eating needs to go to a therapist or somebody that's licensed for something like that because it is a mental bodily issue inside that stems from previous traumas that I can't sit here and tell you that I can help you alleviate or work with. I can try my best, but I can't guarantee that. So it may not help that. It may not help you alleviate that. That's where you have to start really thinking about, why are you binging at 9 p.m.? Why are you having a bad day at work and feeling like the only thing that'll help you feel better is ordering an extra large pizza to eat by yourself on the couch, And these are things that you can laugh at a little bit, but it's not really funny. It's actually a problem. But don't. And then the thing is, what I tell clients too is like, don't feel bad about that. Tell me. Don't hide it, because if you're hiding food and you're eating in the dark and you're not saying anything, you're just lying to yourself and to me and to the whole process, really. So, those are the things that still need to be addressed through working with a meal plan. Much like working on this, like jumping on the scale for results, you kind of want to, take that a little bit, with a grain of salt. Like, that's just part of your results. Like, the meal plan is part of the process. There's a lot more to it. This is just to really help keep you on track, see meals in a snapshot. So, again, now, considering meal plans is my business, I just kind of shit on them a little bit. But again, most of that comes in the form of the generic one, not the individualized one. So the pros, which I've already touched on a bit here that I have listed, like I said, it gives you a good idea of what a day looks like to eat. So that's why doing a few meal plans, running them through them a few weeks is good, because you can piece together some meals that you really like. You can put together like a way to eat, maybe like structure it a little bit differently. I like to structure my meal plan for myself to where I eat more of my calories later in the day. And my most indulgent meal and my best tasting meal, the one I look forward to the most that I put on my meal plan as my final meal of the day. The reason I do that is because it's actually a mental thing. Knowing that I have a meal I really like that's out there at the end of the day, when I'm most hungry, keeps me kind of accountable the rest of the day to say, I got that meal out there later. I don't need this junk right now. And again, for me personally, and this is just me, and maybe you're similar, maybe you're not, but like I can eat relatively light, relatively well and lean and clean earlier in the day. And it's later in the day where I crave more of the indulgent type food, the pasta with sauce and cheese and meat and things like that, maybe tacos and anything of the sort, which I will eat, which is very doable on these types of meal plans that I put together. I do a lot of food in bowl form. It's just a good way to eat. Chipotle does it, that, but I like that because you can do more volume, add more protein, limit the carbohydrates, limit the calories, really. Limiting the carbohydrates is limiting the calories. That's what that is. And then we can moderate our fat content from there. It does help stay organized and on track to begin. So like when you're starting something and maybe you do want to start addressing your habits, it's a lot at once to start, thinking about how to eat, weighing food, prepping food, all that at once, and then still trying to mess with your habits that you got to address. So what the meal plan can do is sort of alleviate that from you. And then as you start breaking habits, we can get away from the meal plan a little bit and eat regularly, or what they call intuitively. For some reason, I don't like that term at all, intuitive eating. I don't know why. I just don't. I can't answer that for you, but I'll still use it because I can't tell you why I don't like it. So that is the goal, is to eat intuitively. That's with no scale, no meal plan, but you're keeping your physique, you're staying healthy, and you're doing your thing. And that's the ultimate goal to fitness, is when you have that confidence to eat right. And then that you can go off and gorge a little bit and you'll be all right. It's getting back on track. And that's another thing I was talking about in the cons. If you feel like you didn't eat on your meal plan and it makes you feel like a failure immediately, that's the diet mentality speaking. So that's like when you have a meal plan, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you're on track. Thursday, you go have lunch somewhere else. Even though you probably did fine, you feel like you failed because you didn't stick with the plan. It's like, that's that perfectionist thing you got to ditch. The other pros, to keep going on that, you can reduce prep and shopping time. So what I do for my clients, like I said, I provide them the meal plan. that's going to be through MyFitnessPal. I generate that into a PDF and shoot them an email with that. They can either use their app or they can use the PDF as a grocery list, order their groceries, go to the store, and it just kind of keeps it easy like that. And then I go with however kind of prep they want to do. I'll do their meal plan. So if they're like, look, I don't want to cook too much, I'll throw on there, even though it's processed, deli turkey meat, hard-boiled eggs, things that don't need too much prep. I do think it's not hard, and making that leap a little bit, I do push people to maybe prep something, maybe their chicken breasts or something like a good source of protein to have on hand. Falling short of your protein target usually happens because you don't have the right protein ready to go, and you grab something that's easier. And it's hard because the battle is this. Like, what are you going to do? Like, you want something to eat, but there's raw chicken sitting in your fridge that you need to cook, or there's a Pop-Tart in the pantry. What are you going to grab? You're going to grab the Pop-Tart, probably, especially if you're in a rush. And that sucks. Those things are terrible for you. They're delicious, but they're awful. All right, moving along. It can help establish a collection of meals. Now, what that means is, like, as we progress, I give meal suggestions. You find them yourself. I find them for you. We use Slender Kitchen, Skinny Taste, Big Man's World. These are some of the websites we'll use that have good macro counts, good lower calorie, higher protein options that you can find for a crock pot, anything like that. And you can start just saying, hey, these are good meals. Even if you're not tracking, like, this is lean. This is going to help me hit my protein target. Even if I'm not weighing and measuring it, you have this log of meals now to where you can change it. Instead of ordering pizza, you might say, all right, you know what, we're going to throw this Slender Kitchen meal on. We're going to have, tacos tonight. We're going to make our own taco bowls or whatever it is that are on here, or some sort of beef stew or something that you actually really want to eat. No food's bad on these things. It's obviously there's higher or lesser nutritious, higher or less protein. That's what matters. Body composition is calories. Nutrients are health. They kind of overlap each other a little bit here and there, but primarily that's the way that goes. So speaking calorically here, that's all within fair game. Let's see here. We got reducing confusion and errors from tracking. So but this is a pro and a con to me, because a lot of the confusion and the errors made while you're tracking food are learning sources, or a way of learning. It's a learning experience to mess up. And that's the thing. I tell clients we need to welcome these screw-ups, or we call them screw-ups, and don't feel bad about it. Don't self-sabotage yourself and feel bad and spiral and say, I suck at this now. I'm going to go back to eating like crap and comfort yourself with the shit food you've been doing that's been fucking yourself over, to where you look in the mirror and you want to contact a nutrition coach. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to let yourself make mistakes. You got to give yourself time. You're not going to transform yourself in 90 days if you've been eating like shit for 5 years and you're overweight. It's not going to happen. Not even physically, but mentally. You have to get past the mental hurdle first before you're even going to change your body. You got to do that. We can do a little bit of both at once, where that's why the benefit of the meal plan kind of keeps you, if you're following it, it'll keep you going with the fat loss you want. Because you have to remember, when you pay somebody, whether it's a trainer, a program, someone like me that's a nutrition counselor or consultant, you're not paying for the results. You're paying for the information. You're paying for the accountability. You're paying for the assistance. You're paying for the help. You're paying to change yourself. So you don't just get results by throwing money at it. It's not how it works. And then the last thing I have here, a meal plan can still allow for tracking and freely eating. So if you choose the tracking option, you really can't get a meal plan because you didn't pay for that service. You can try to create your own. And if someone like me will go ahead and say, all right, yeah, let's look at it. And I'll go through it with you. You can do it every week or every day. I don't care. And I'll look at it. And I'll say, that looks good. Fine. But when you're tracking, you don't get the meal plan. So I think it's a good thing, because you have both options at your disposal. You got a meal plan to go off of if you need it, but you can also have the option to go ahead and track. So it kind of gives you more flexibility, in my opinion, as long as you're willing to do a little bit of both. So overall, that is what I believe the pros and cons to meal plans are. Some people have different experiences. Some people, I think they really have been only exposed to this restrictive type meal plan that has, boring food on it that they didn't pick, that they are just told, you need to eat this to hit your goals. You got to make sure, if you're going to get a meal plan, if you're not going to come and work with me, if you're ever going to go for a meal plan, you have to, first and foremost, make sure that thing is calorically specific to your goals. If you're in a fat loss goal, if you have that, you need to be at a calorie deficit. If that thing is not calculated for your calorie deficit range and your calorie count is not somewhere within that, that's already a setup for failure. Macronutrients need to be proportioned correctly through there. X amount of protein, 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body lean mass or your goal weight. That's usually a good way to go about it. And once those are set, you got to incorporate food in there that you're going to eat and sustain, because you're only going to want to eat this way, you're in a boring way for a short amount of time. And a lot of people even get bored this way. And I've seen it because, like I started this episode off, they want to just go back to that freely eating, to the grazing, grabbing handfuls of chips. They don't even consciously want to do it. They just gravitate back to it and they just start doing it. Sometimes we're like not even in control. I've been there. It feels like that, where I don't know, I had a really good day and then all of a sudden 8:30 at night I'm standing in my kitchen and my hand is in a box of Cookie Crisp or Cinnamon Toast Crunch or some other shitty cereal that's sitting in the house because hey, fuck it, we like cereal, right? So it happens. So you got to just move along. Like, I'm not perfect. I don't sit here from a pedestal telling you how to do it. I tell you at eye level with you. I've done this. This is why it's hard. I still struggle. That means you're still going to struggle, and you're still going to have hard days. It's going to happen. No chance and no way around it. So if you take anything here from this episode, it's when you're getting a meal plan or you want to go a route of a meal plan, it's got to be specific to your goal and your life and your preferences. It has to be that way, in my opinion. It's almost for sure. The only people eating other ways on a strict one, like I say it all the time, bodybuilders, physique competitors, maybe anybody with a high health risk, where you almost have to eat a specific way to save your life because the doctor has diagnosed you with something that's going to result in your demise if you don't change now. So for the vast majority of people, it's they're just looking to lose 20, 30 pounds. You have leeway. You have that freedom to have on your meal plan to put foods in that you like. I'm going to have a friend of mine on the show soon. Hopefully the next episode, I'm thinking. Her name's Marianne. She was my first client. And on her meal plan, we put a Snickers ice cream bar every night. She likes those. And you know what? You can look at that. Oh, that's not healthy. Sure, it's not healthy. It's got sugar in it. It's got no protein really in it. And it's all carbs and fat otherwise. But you know what? We figured out the meal plan the rest of the day to where that fits in there. Her protein was hit, her calorie deficit was reached, and she's able to eat that every night and look forward to it. And like I said before, for me, eating my favorite meal at the end of the day, she did similar. And she would have that at night. She would look forward to that. And that kept her going throughout the day. And she is a yoga instructor now, or she had been, and she's kept it off. She's changed her life, and she's somebody who is instrumental with me doing what I do, and I'm forever grateful for her. So I'm happy that she's coming on and we're going to talk. She's a lawyer, very smart girl, longtime friend, and I'm looking forward to that one. And we did that through meal plans and eventually off of it. So we're going to talk to her about how she transitioned off of it and how she changed her life and what her lifestyle looks like now compared to what it was before. So that's a little preview to what I'm hoping to be the next episode, if everything goes according to plan. If not, that one is out there for the future. If you want to be on my podcast and talk, and the episode is pretty much yours, we can discuss your topic about you. I don't like to talk about me too much. I prefer it to be about you. And you can reach me on social media. That's going to be LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. The handle's @MFS Wellness. You can shoot me an email, old school style, mike@mfswellness.com. So until we do the next episode, I appreciate all of you who listen, and we will talk to you then. Thank you.